respect for you this Patriot Honoree plaque for exceptional service to your country, sir.
Well, good evening, everybody. First of all, for Army guys, I keep telling my Navy brothers, in the Navy they relieve guys from command, and that's a good thing. In the Army, that word relief ain't such a good word. So I'm sitting there, I go, hey, I'm on relieved, now it's so calm. I'm going, no, not really. No, Army guys, no, it's all good. Navy guys, damn. First of all, it's an absolute privilege and honor to be here tonight. And I've just got to say, first of all, thank you, Chuck, to you and the foundation. And second, I'll just say, obviously, you're not worthy. You've seen the list of names earlier tonight of folks who've won this or received this very prestigious and distinguished recognition. And, it must have been a really slow year here, I guess. People were gone, I don't know. But thank you from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of my family for this recognition. I certainly accept on behalf of the men and women of Army Special Operations and of course this great Army that I'm so honored and proud to be part of. Chuck, I know you have a debt of gratitude in your foundation as well for your outreach to Special Operations. I first met Chuck a couple of years ago when I had the privilege of serving here at USASOC, Army Special Operations Command. And the foundation's willingness to reach out to the Army Special Operations community was outstanding, extraordinarily generous, and candidly very much needed. We are very fortunate in Special Operations that we have a wonderful supporting charity and foundation that some of you, I'm sure, have heard of, the Special Operations Warrior Foundation. And that was founded in the aftermath of the failure at Desert One, back in the deserts of Iran, when we lost 8 great Americans. And the survivors of that raid realized that there was nothing in place to take care of the children of those fallen airmen. And that began this great foundation. And it continues to this day this wonderful work, taking care of the children, their education of our fallen special operators across the SOLF community jointly. But the vacuum is in our wounded, and that has existed as a vacuum, and that's one that our little humble foundation at USASOC has worked hard to fill, and Chuck and the foundation reached out to us to help us with that. And that's been a huge void. We've suffered a disproportionate number of casualties given our relative size in Iraq and Afghanistan and elsewhere around the world. And we struggle, candidly, to figure out how to take care of the children of those families. And the Patriot Foundation has just been extraordinarily enormous, the single biggest part of what we're able to do. So I want to very much thank you, Chuck, and the foundation for your generosity. I want to thank the donors and tell you just what an extraordinarily patriotic, certainly, but more than that, an important contribution that it is you make when you support this fantastic foundation. I mean, what is possibly more important than the education of our children? And some of them are probably knuckleheads like I was, and didn't realize at the time how important that education is going to be what we do. And so your ability to enable those children to receive that higher education so that they can be competitive, so they can be relevant and better citizens of this great country is just, there's nothing like it. So I do want to also extend my sincere appreciation and gratitude to the donors for what you do here, because there's just nothing I can think of that's more important. We're reminded tonight of the reality of our sacrifice with our Gold Star ladies who are here tonight, and certainly our wounded veterans who are here, wounded active service members, and families of those wounded guys. When we were driving in today from Raleigh, car went by us today and had a couple of those magnets on the back of the car. One was a Blue Star magnet and one was a Gold Star magnet. And there was nothing else on the car, let no bumper sticker or something, let you know, what service or what capacity that fallen service member was from, but it didn't really matter. That was an American. Who gave his or her life on behalf of his country. And as our Gold family and Star families know, that doesn't go away. That's forever. Our job remains to make sure that that sacrifice was worthwhile, was worthy. That's our commitment to them and the way we live, and the way we in uniform certainly conduct ourselves, but all of us as American citizens in what we do. And our obligation to take care of those families because they made the ultimate sacrifice. Septembers are hard for me, because it all began 13 years ago. Used to be high, it's still happy. My birthday's in September, that's good. Having birthdays is good. But of course, that day rolls around, it reminds us of why we are in the world we are in today. And 13 years now, we've been at this. And as you can see from the events of the world, it's not going to change anytime soon. And our nation is going to continue to demand the very best of its sons and daughters to confront this terrible threat and the range of threats that exist in the world today. And even though some of these threats are disparate, not necessarily linked, they do have some commonality. And one of those common themes is an absolute hatred for this country and what we stand for. And make no mistake about it. We won't go across the globe here and identify which ones they are, but they're not hard to figure out. And if there's one thing that does link them, even though they themselves may be at odds or different interests, what is common is that they recognize that there is something here in the United States that is contrary to what they stand for. And what we stand for, the individual and collective rights of free men and free women to live lives free from persecution, free from oppression, and free to carry out their lives the way our founding fathers called us to do. And they would change that world for different reasons and in different ways, but nonetheless, they would change that world if they were successful. And ultimately, what stands between them changing the world for the worse, and it would be, are the men and women who serve in this great country in uniform or in other government services, government agencies who do great work literally at home and abroad day to day to keep this country free. The great work of this foundation is exemplary of the kind of patriots and patriotism that we have in this great country. And I worry on occasion when there is discussion that the wars have come to an end, that things are changing, when we know it is not in fact true, that the American people will maybe begin to believe that, or perhaps begin to forget just what is at stake. And that tonight as we break bread here together, great Americans in uniform and in government service are standing post at the far edge, at the ragged edge, at the sharp edge, and that it remains an extraordinarily dangerous world. And it is the courage and the valor of these great Americans that stand between them and this great country. So one of the other great things that you can do, my fellow citizens here, is make sure that your fellow countrymen here don't forget and take that message back out to your communities. And it's clear that you do that. The list that was up there is extraordinary. But we cannot allow our fellow citizens to forget that it is out there. The threat exists, the threat is pervasive, and it is committed to what it does. And we have to be every bit more committed to preserving and protecting what we've got. And to me, that's what this foundation represents, is the absolute, a tangible, substantive example of Americans say we are committed to this great force we've got, and that we will help protect it, sustain it, and where there is pain, we will help accommodate and mitigate that pain through our contributions, in this case, aimed at our children, to help ensure that they have a future that's bright. So on behalf of all of us here, as an Army guy. And as a guy who served in the Joint Force for most of my career, I want to thank this foundation for the great work that you've done, and certainly for the great honor you bestowed upon me. God bless you all. God bless this great country. Strengthen us.